I kind of feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. Yes! What's up everyone, and welcome to Lowered Expectations. Thanks for lowering your expectations and hanging out with me here. I do appreciate it. For those of you who follow my channel, you will know that I've been doing all sorts of experiments with my diesel heater, trying to get it to burn waste motor oil. And if you watched the end of the last video, you will know that I think that I came up with a solution for keeping heat in the burn chamber where the fuel flows in. This is a pretty big deal because without the heat in the burn chamber, the oil doesn't flash off. And if the oil doesn't flash off, you end up with a bunch of junk left behind, and it is very difficult to control the air-fuel ratio. What I mean by that is if you dump a liter of fuel in and only 3 teaspoons of that fuel actually vaporizes, well, you need to control the air-fuel ratio to burn those 3 teaspoons. But if you vaporize the whole liter, then you need enough air to make the correct air-fuel ratio for that whole liter. So before we go any further with this explanation, and I go way off on a big rant, I think I've already done that. A big thanks to everyone who's been supporting me, whether it's subscribing to my channel, leaving likes on the videos, or getting involved in the comments section. Thank you very much. I wouldn't be doing these videos if it wasn't for you guys, so thanks for watching, thanks for getting involved. A lot of these things that I'm doing are a suggestion from you guys, so thank you very much. Also, a big thanks to everyone who's purchased a heater using my affiliate link. For those of you who don't know, I have a VEVOR affiliate link, which is in the description below. If you purchase a heater using that link, it helps me out. I get a small kickback. There is a discount code VVS10 for $10 off your purchase, or VV promo for 5% off store-wide. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, feel free to check it out. You can get yourself one of these heaters and burn diesel in it. As I've already said, I have been doing all sorts of experiments, and I will be doing experiments in this video. I would suggest that you don't do the same. Please follow your manufacturer's recommendations and use this heater in the way that it was intended. Burn the correct fuel and install it in a safe manner. Doing what you see me do could get you killed, injured, cause a damage to your property, or a complete loss of property. Oh boy, what a mess I got here. I kind of feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I don't think I can overstate the importance of keeping heat in this part of the chamber. At the end of the last video, I told you guys I had a brilliant idea. That idea is to drill a hole this way through the chamber. So I'm going to put this in my lathe, drill a hole through it this way. Then we can mount a bolt in it. The bolt will have washers on it. The washers will absorb the heat, carry the heat back into this area, and everything will be perfect. I'm going to come back when I have a hole drilled and show you guys in detail what I'm talking about. Okay, I have my hole drilled. I had to tape up the wires so that they didn't get snagged. I drilled the hole in the lathe. You could do it with a hand drill, but it was easier for me to do it this way. So I taped up the wires so they wouldn't be slinging around and getting caught in anything. I have 2 washers on a bolt, a stainless steel bolt, stainless steel nuts, stainless steel washers. They are 20 millimeters apart from each other and 20 millimeters away from this surface here. The idea is the flame comes through here, it's going to heat up these nuts and washers, and that heat will get carried back through the bolt in through this housing, which will heat up the area where the fuel comes in, and hopefully that will make the fuel flash off and make this whole thing burn a whole lot cleaner. Do you guys think that it's silly that I am this excited about testing a heater? Because I am really excited to see how this works. I'm going to be pretty bummed if it doesn't give me some kind of a result. I'm kind of half nervous that it's going to put too much heat into it, and at the same time nervous that it's not going to make any difference at all. We could see temperatures that are way too high and I might have to take the nuts and washers off, but it might not make any difference whatsoever, so let's test it and find out. I assume this is just from the glow plug heating up. We get immediate ignition, even though it's starting on oil. That's good news. I guess it's not oil, it's oil, diesel, gasoline, and additive mix, cetane booster. That temperature is climbing very quickly. Of course, it did that before with the scouring pad, and then it stopped very abruptly as well, so let's not get excited yet. Seems to level out at 100 for some reason. It could be that the bolt is absorbing a lot of the heat right now. It could actually take a while. I'm more curious to see what it does when it actually gets up to full operating temperature. I won't draw any conclusions until we see that happen. It does seem to be making some kind of funny noises. I don't think I mentioned this either, but I did put the spring back in. Well, so far this number is not overly impressive. 129, 130. I am going to leave this run, and I will hopefully come back in a little bit with some good news, because as of now that's not terribly impressive, but I think it's going to take quite a while to climb because there's so much more thermal mass with that bolt in there. And this is how that test went. I wasn't able to get decent temperatures, and I want to take a look and see if there's something obvious, if it's perhaps blocking off too much air, or maybe I'm just not. Basically what I'm going to do now is make some sort of a drastic change. I'm either going to put a whole bunch of washers or a really big washer, or I'm going to take all the washers off. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to make a big change and see if it makes a difference in one direction or the other. And then I can use that information to figure out what way I want to go. Looks like these washers got plenty hot, but it doesn't look like they carried much heat back. Maybe they need to be closer, maybe I need bigger washers. So I'm going to do some head scratching and try to figure out what I want to do. I find it interesting taking it apart this quickly. I can see that there is already a bunch of junk building up here from the oil. All right, I don't know if I actually said this on camera, but I had thought that maybe this wasn't getting hot enough, but after taking a closer look at this, that isn't the case. The head of this has actually turned color, which means it was getting plenty hot. Determining the heat of something based on the oxide color isn't as straightforward as it may seem. A lot of people will just say this color means this temperature, but there's more to it than that. Time comes into play. What I mean by that is if you have a light yellow color, that typically means about 290 Celsius. But if you're sitting at 270 or 260 for an extended period of time, several hours, you can also get that same oxide color or even a darker color. I've got the hose clamp back on the burn chamber, and I'm ready to show you guys how I'm going to do it this time. I have a bolt that is only about 28 millimeters long, a little over an inch, and I've got it on the end of the Allen key, and I'm going to put it in through this way. You can see it is much bigger than the other washers that I was using, but I'm only using a single washer. And now I have to feed a nut down in through here and thread that on. I'll have to get a socket to tighten it up. "11 minutes after 8 p.m. and I've been playing with this literally all day. So regardless of whether or not it works, I'm just probably gonna leave it run and see what happens, but I'm really hoping that it I say this every time, but I hope that it works. I'm guessing that it won't. In the low setting, it is going up to, well, it's gonna hit 210 here by the looks of it, but I'm pretty sure that once I increase the heat, which will increase the fan speed, I'm pretty sure the temperature is just going to drop. I would like to have a temperature over 220 before I put the oil in it. Realistically, I'd like 250-ish Celsius, but I don't imagine we're gonna see that. This is interesting. I went up to the number 4 heat setting and the temperature is still climbing. It is at 236, 237. Wow. All right, I came out to the garage expecting a big cloud of smoke. I'm editing some video and I thought I would check up on this. So it's actually not making a lot of smoke. I can see by the remote that the temperature is staying up around 208, 210, as you guys can see, but I want to check this temperature to see what it's all about. That is low. That is not good. Well, I'm not gonna lie, definitely not the results that I was hoping for, and it looks like I may have destroyed this burn chamber, which means I'll have to get another burn chamber, which means it might be a while before I do any more testing. So it seems as though removing the vanes off of the backside of the burn chamber had a negative effect on it. I'm guessing that they were still, even though I didn't have the baffle on, I think they must have still been introducing some swirl action, and now that that is gone, it's just not acting right. So 178-ish, and this is hovering between 206 and 210. I don't know what this means, if anything, but I do know that we're gonna leave it run. I put a little marking on where the fuel is. We've already burnt some, but I figured I would put a mark on it now, and we'll leave it run and see what happens. Yeah, that's not ideal. Not what I like to see. I was in the garage cleaning up and I smelt a whiff of smoke, so I look over at the exhaust and this is happening. I pull the inlet off and I decided I was going to take the heater down off of the shelf and take a look inside of it. I switched it over to diesel to let it clean out a little bit before I took it apart. That's what I usually do, and it overheated and shut down while it was switching over to diesel. So I'm gonna pull it apart, see what we got going on inside. All right, not a huge amount of oil on the fan. I expected to see a lot more based on the amount of oil that was around the inlet. The burn chamber has a straw color to it, which indicates that it's getting hotter than the sensor says it is, but also the JB weld is still intact. So I'm looking at the thermocouple around where I put the epoxy, and I can see that it's looks like it saw a lot of heat. I don't know if that's rust or what the deal is, but there's actually something that is very obviously red in here. I'm guessing the camera doesn't pick up on it at all, but there is something in there that is quite red. I'll try to get my phone and get a better shot. I don't know if you guys can see the little bits of stuff popping around in there. I don't know if that's oxidation popping off the walls as it cools, or it gets moisture in it perhaps. Oh wow, the red stuff I was talking about, there is a whole bunch in here. Wow. What is red? What chemical is red? Somebody will know this. Somebody knows what that is. I'll pour it out here in a second. Wow. Ooh, it's very fluffy. Yeah, I'm trying to pick it up and it's just falling apart. It's a fine red powder. I'm wondering, must be some sort of oxide. I don't know why I'm saying it must be, like I know something about chemistry. I don't know why I said that. I have no idea what it is. Wow. That stainless washer took a real thrashing. I did not expect that at all. I wonder if it has to do with the grade of stainless. I'll have to get my phone again and take some video with it. Holy cow, that is something else. The washer is just completely crumbling. That is incredible. The stainless steel bolt seems to have held up better. The stainless steel nuts are completely intact. So, in order for it to eat up that metal like that, maybe I'm wrong, but that tells me that it's an oxidizing flame. If it's doing that, it's very oxygen rich. If it were fuel rich, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but if it were fuel rich, it wouldn't erode away at it. It wouldn't oxidize washer or the bolt or whatever. It wouldn't oxidize it because all of the oxygen would be used up in the burn process. There wouldn't be any excess oxygen. All right, all the carbon is just falling out. There is a considerable amount of carbon, but for how much fuel it went through, it's not that bad. There was a considerable amount of stuff in here, but it's all, most of it just fell out, like it wasn't even bonded to anything. I'm going to try this experiment again. I'm going to use the same length bolt. I'm actually going to use the same bolt. But I think what I'll do is use another washer. I'll use a different washer, hopefully an actual stainless steel washer this time. Where is, oh, I could use a piece of aluminum. I've decided I'm going to try something a little bit different here. I've got the end cap off of my old fan motor, and I'm actually going to use that instead of a stainless steel washer. I'm assuming the aluminum is probably going to melt, but we're going to give it a go anyway. Now the question is this thing going to let enough air through? Also, is it just going to melt? And if it doesn't melt, is it going to do any better than the washer that I had in there last time? Let's get it together and find out. I know I say this a lot, but I'm really excited to see what happens here. I pretty much expect for that to just be a melted blob when we take it back apart. If it actually runs. It might not have enough airflow. We got 69 Celsius on the burn chamber, 68, and over here we got 22. Immediately starts. Still going up quite quickly. The temperature here is fairly low, but this is promising. Wonder if that motor end cap is melted yet. All right, switching to waste oil. It is now starting to get waste oil. I'm gonna check down here. Oh yeah, it's getting waste oil. I can tell the fuel is bubbling like crazy. Because the fuel boils or vaporizes, it pushes in a bunch extra, and it could be cooling off the chamber because of that. I actually saw it went up a degree there to 226, 227, so kind of looking promising, but we've said that before, right? 5 minutes has passed and I am really happy with this. This is also good. I'm guessing it has to do with the aluminum transferring heat better to the bolt. I can't say for sure. All I know is that this has to be better than when it's running at like 160 or 150 something. That is hot enough to get regular quality oil to its flash point. It is now an hour later. It's a little bit smoky in here, but the temperature in the burn chamber is still up, on the outside of the burn chamber rather, still up around 230, 234. This is how much oil it's burnt. So that's how much it consumed in an hour. It is almost 2 a.m. I came out to the garage to check on the heater, and you guys aren't gonna believe this, but it is actually running. Kinda don't expect it to be good, but let's find out. That is exciting. That is really exciting. This is where we started with the aluminum washer, or the aluminum end cap on the motor, and that is how much we've burnt. I really don't want to leave this run overnight, but I also don't want to shut it down at this point because it's working way too good. That is very interesting. So it didn't run for very long after it shut off. Normally the temperature spikes when it shuts off. This indicates that it's actually burning the stuff in the chamber. Normally, I shut it off, the fuel pump stops, and then it continues to burn for quite some time. That indicates that there's a lot of fuel left behind, and this is doing the exact opposite. Did you see the dog? Hey, good boy. Hey, did you get some snow on you? Did you get some snow on you? Good boy. It is now the following day, and as you guys can hear, the heater is running in the background. I had to do a bunch of shoveling, so I started it up before I grabbed the camera. Let it sit on the setting 3, came in to check on it. It is running on diesel, but I came in to check on it, and what I saw was quite surprising. Running at setting 3, the temperature on the chamber is 235. Temperature over here was just 190, but anyway, what I'm gonna do is start switching it over to the motor oil, it looks like this could be a pretty huge part of the puzzle. I don't know what's going on, but the heater's working even better now than it was last night. There is very little smell in here of oil, and I'll show you once again the vent outside. The first thing I did when I came outside to check on the heater was go look at the vent, expecting to see a big cloud of smoke. Yeah. You wouldn't even know it was running. I really don't understand how it's that good. I'm sure my bubble's gonna be burst here soon, and it's gonna start billowing out black smoke and just yeah, start acting like a real piece of crap again. But that's how much waste oil that we've burnt with this test. So we still got a long way to go before we can say this is a success, but I would say that it is the biggest success up to this point. Maybe when I pull it apart, that washer will be completely melted into a glob. Maybe that glob is actually working. I don't know what else to say. I'm in disbelief. I will update you guys when I have something to update you about. It looks good. I don't want to get too excited about it, but this looks good. That's right, I'm leaving you guys on a bit of a cliffhanger here, partly on purpose and partly because if these videos get too long, nobody watches all the way to the end. A big thanks to you guys for making it all the way to the end of the video. I do appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of this nonsense, subscribe to my channel. A big thanks to everyone who's been helping out, supporting me with advice and comments and safety information and all that. I do appreciate it, so thank you. Good news, VEVOR has told me that winter is in fact over, which is curious because it was minus 25 yesterday, minus 28 the day before that with a lot of snow. But in all seriousness, it is going up to +1 in the next couple of days, and winter is coming to the end. So that was their way of telling me that I need to start on different projects and that they're not going to be sending me another heater. So completely understand that. It does make sense. But if you guys want to pick up one of these heaters, feel free to do so. There is a link in the description below, which is an affiliate link. If you purchase one of those heaters, it helps me out. I get a small kickback. There is a discount code down there, VVS10, for $10 off your purchase, or VV promo for 5% off store-wide. If that's something you're interested in, all that information is down below. Stay tuned for another video on this heater to find out how long it runs for before it quits. I'm going to be trying to release more frequent videos to keep you guys more up to date. Normally I release a Sunday and a Wednesday. I don't know if it's actually going to work because I am a busy guy trying to keep this garage warm with a heater burning waste oil, but I will do my best to get more frequent videos out. Anyway, that is going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys next time.